Here at Temasek, we invest to deliver long-term returns and make a difference. We do things today with tomorrow in mind, promoting sustainability and good corporate governance in our wider community. We call it generational investing. As at 31st March 2016, our net portfolio value was 242 billion Singapore dollars, down $24 billion from last year. The net portfolio value is important because it gives us and our shareholder a snapshot of our portfolio's value at a point in time, the 31st of March each year. But because we mainly invest in shares, and we mark the value of those shares to market prices, it can go down or up from year to year, depending on how markets perform. For example, both the MSCI Singapore and Asia ex-Japan indices dropped by 13% from last year, reflecting market values, not realized losses. Our one-year total shareholder return, or TSR, was negative 9.02% in Singapore dollar terms, mainly because of the share price declines of our listed investments. Our 10-year and 20-year TSRs were both 6%, while TSR since our inception in 1974 stood at 15%. Focusing on longer-term TSRs ensures we maintain the discipline to stay on course through the ups and downs. Our credit profile is designed as a basic snapshot of our credit quality. Last year, Temasek made a record 28 billion Singapore dollars of divestments and earned 8 billion Singapore dollars in dividend income. This dividend income of $8 billion was sufficient to cover our interest expenses for the year 18 times over. It is also enough to repay all our $8 billion debt that is due over the next decade. As at 31st March 2016, we had a total of $13 billion of debt outstanding. Based on Temasek's cash equivalents and short-term investments, we would be able to cover all our short and long-term debt obligations due over the next 10 years 3 times over. And our liquid assets, like cash and sub-20% listed assets, are sufficient to cover all our debt 6 times over. In 2005, we issued our maiden Temasek bond, a 10-year Singapore dollar bond notionally valued at $2.4 billion. During 2015, this Temasek bond came due and was redeemed in full. We thank those bond investors who bought our maiden bond for their confidence and support. All our Temasek bonds have been top-rated AAA by S&P Global Ratings and Moody's Investors Service, respectively. While all investments carry risk, data shows that the lower the rating, the higher the observed frequency of default, and vice versa. However, credit ratings are just one data point. In our Temasek review this year, we share more details about our credit profile, so people have information on which they can form their own views. We continue to reshape our portfolio towards longer-term, emerging trends, such as the needs of the growing middle-income populations or the mobile-enabled sharing economy. During the year, we invested $30 billion and divested $28 billion. The major sectors for investments were financial services, telecommunications, media and technology, and life sciences and agriculture. The US accounted for the largest share of new investments. We see the economic environment there recovering, and we are more actively sourcing from networks that we have steadily built there, especially since we opened our office in New York in 2014. We also continue to make new investments in Asia, of which China accounted for the largest share. During the year, we invested in companies such as PayPal, Didi Chuxing and Postal Savings Bank of China, Dufree in Switzerland, and Univar in the US. We participated in the management buyout of China-based WuXi Pharmaceutical and agreed to fund Dell's merger with EMC to create one of the largest tech vendors in the world. We also divested our holdings in Stats Chippak, Lloyds Banking Group, and Quacho Moutai. Post-year-end, we tendered our shares in shipping company NOL as part of the voluntary general offer made by CMA CGM, and we invested a further $500 million in Alibaba. Singapore was the largest country in our portfolio, with 29% by underlying assets, followed by China at 25% and the US at 10%. Our 4 investment themes continue to guide us today as we invest for future generations: transforming economies, growing middle-income populations, deepening comparative advantages, and emerging champions. Our focus on sustainability anchors our philosophy of generational investing. Sustainability is the defining challenge of our time. We have a collective responsibility to leave our world a better place for our children and for their children. Social changes, globalization and technology, climate change and shifting regulations, these will impact us all. They may also offer new opportunities to make a difference. For instance, the rejuvenation of Mandai is a really exciting opportunity to invest for our great-great-grandchildren, to amaze them with the majesty of our rainforest heritage in Singapore and inspire our people with respect for the diversity and wealth of nature. Through Mandai Safari Park Holdings, we plan to sensibly conserve Singapore's tropical heritage in a nature precinct. We will offer immersive nature and wildlife experiences to all ages and provide our public with ample access to boardwalks, waterways, and gardens. There will also be opportunities to explore new technologies and create sustainable solutions which can withstand the test of time. Yet even as we invest for our future generations, we are also mindful of a changing world and the need to always adapt and transform to remain relevant. Following the opening of our New York office in June 2014, we are excited to announce that we will open our second US office in San Francisco later this year. This will help us connect with tech-related investment opportunities in Silicon Valley and deepen our connections with innovators and disruptive businesses in the world's largest innovation hub. Temasek received its funds primarily from 3 sources: proceeds from divestments, dividends from our portfolio companies, and distribution from funds. Occasionally, we may raise further funds from issuing bonds or from our Euro Commercial Paper or ECP, capital injections, or bank borrowings. We use those sources of capital to make new investments and pay dividends to our shareholder, the Minister of Finance. We also pay taxes on the profits we earn in various countries. When we achieve a return above our cost of capital, we set aside a portion of the excess returns to share with the community. To date, we have established 16 endowments to support programs that focus on building people, building communities, building capabilities, and rebuilding lives in Singapore and beyond. Our various non-profit initiatives have touched the lives of over 300,000 people in Singapore and Asia. We established the Temasek Trust in 2007 to oversee the management and distribution of our endowments. The governance model separates the financial management of endowments from our non-profit philanthropic organizations so they can focus on what they do best, implementing programs that support those in need across our communities. Set up in 2009, Temasek Cares focuses on Singaporeans in need. Temasek Cares partners with established organizations to pilot models of care to address gaps in the Singapore community. When proven successful, these models become mainstream programs that can be rolled out across Singapore. In 2010, Temasek Cares launched SPICE, the Singapore Program for Integrated Care for the Elderly. SPICE is a daycare center to take care of frail elderly who would otherwise have to stay in a nursing home. They have families who care for them but need help because they work during the day. Modeled after an adult day health center concept that has proven to be effective overseas, an existing local day rehabilitation center was modified and enhanced to run the program. The elderly receive medical care and social services from a multidisciplinary team comprising nurses, therapists, case managers, and health workers during the day and return home to family and loved ones at nights and on weekends. The Ministry of Health has set up 7 SPICE centers since this successful pilot, benefiting over 300 elderly across Singapore. We were deeply saddened by the tragic loss of lives during the Mount Kinabalu earthquake in Sabah in June 2015. The Sabah Earthquake Fund was established later that month for the dependents of Singaporeans who had lost their lives, as well as for the trainers and guides in Sabah whose livelihoods had been affected, and to support the families of those who perished. Managed by the Ministry of Education and Temasek Foundation, people and companies were generous with their contributions, raising almost $1 million. Temasek matched donations from its staff dollar for dollar. Our staff volunteers also sourced for appropriate endowment policies that were customized for the dependents of the 3 Singapore families who lost their breadwinners in the earthquake. These policies provided a fixed monthly amount to supplement the family's income for the next 8 to 20 years, depending on the age of the dependents. In choosing Temasek as our name, our forefathers embraced a sense of history, purpose, and possibilities far beyond their time. That history does not start or stop with them, nor shall it do so with us. As we continue our journey of generational investing, we look forward to making a difference and leaving our world a better place for our children and their children, for generations to come.